Welcome to the Mansfield Motor Speedway in Mansfield, Ohio. Hi, folks. Mike Hawkwood here, along with Dan Pardis. Natalie Taylor is down on the pit lane. We've got 150 laps of exciting racing ahead.
This is a fast, bumpy half mile, but the biggest concern I'm hearing out of a lot of drivers here today is how tough this racetrack is going to be to pass on, Mike. It really has no second groove. The way you pass here at Mansfield is you got to slide up in the corner, do the slide job on the driver in front of you, get back on the gas pedal, right underneath them on corner exit. So it's going to be one tough day here at Mansfield. It's a hard track to pass, so it's going to be an exciting race.
And let me tell you, if you've never seen a modified race, you are in for a treat. Dan, talk about the difference in these modifieds and what we'll see later today in the stock car race.
Well, in the Whelen modified car, you see they're 2,610 pounds versus 3,300 pounds in the Grand National car. The wheelbase is 107 inches. Grand National is 105 or 110. You can run the Busch car or the Cup car in years past. The tires on these cars, Hoosier bias plies, where the Grand National cars, we run Goodyear tires. The engine's about the same horsepower, 625 horsepower, but the biggest difference is the tire width on these cars. The Whelen modifieds, 15 inches, the Grand National, 9.5 inches.
And Dave, you talk about that tire width. One of the advantages of those wide tires is you can really go fast, and that's what I think people love about watching these modified races.
Well, tires on the racetrack are everything. Look at the size of them tires. They're huge. You got 4 big monster tires on the surface of this racetrack. When you're back on the gas pedal, the car really bites. The driver turns the wheel to the right, turns it to the left. The car really responds well. That's what's so great about these cars, why drivers really like driving them. But they're very, very fast, especially on a half mile like Mansfield.
You and I have been doing stock car racing all year long. We haven't done a modified race. I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys run on a half mile, which is almost, for these guys, like a mile track because they go so fast, and you know, all those mile characteristics come into play.
Well, these cars are so exciting to watch everywhere. Look at the bumpers on the front of these cars. They're made of roll cage, and that's what they're made for. They're actually made for bumping the car in front of you. They call it the bump draft. A lot of times drivers will get back and they bump the rear bumper there. You see it, a big aluminum bar. Looks like a big I-beam around the back of this race car. Just tremendous. Lots of fun to drive.
Well, it should be fun. The drivers have all strapped into their cars. We're about ready to go. So what do you say we head down trackside now in the 4 most famous words in all of racing?
A few moments away from the command of fire engines here this afternoon. 150 laps on tap for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And I've just been told, gentlemen, start your engines.
The other thing you notice about these modifieds, they are loud, Dan, and I mean loud.
Very loud. Again, 620 horsepower, 500-plus foot-pounds of torque. You can feel the ground rumble when they crank these babies out.
Well, there's one guy who has dominated the series this season. He's Donnie Leah. He was fastest in qualifying, and right now he's with the 3rd member of our broadcast team. Here's Natalie Taylor.
Mike and Dan, the furthest west the modified series has come in about 20 years. And Donnie, having the quickest qualifying lap today, how confident are you in this car?
We're good today. I think it's going to be a tough race. The racetrack's a pretty hard racetrack to pass on for whatever reason. Normally they race real good here. The trucks are side by side when they run here. So, but we'll see what happens. I think we're just going to have to see if the bottom comes in, or you know, we could run a little bit lower on the racetrack, and hopefully we could pass some cars because we redrew 6, so we're not starting on the pole. So. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, we're just going to hang in there to the end.
Well, like Donnie said, this is a hard track to pass, so it looks like we're in for some pretty exciting racing. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Natalie. And you heard him talk about the redraw. Even though he was fastest, he'll start 6. We'll explain that more to you in a moment. But the bottom line is he has a healthy lead in the point standings, 109 over Todd Zegedy. Matt Hirschman, the son of Tony Hirschman, is 3rd. Ted Christopher, a veteran driver in this series, 4th. And Jimmy Blewett. We'll talk more about the Blewett family a little later, but they are still in mourning when John Blewett was killed tragically in a race at Thompson the last time this tour raced. Ronnie Silk, James Civali, Mike Stefanik, who's the defending series champion, not had the year that he's wanted, down in 8th. Jamie Tomeno and Ed Flimke round out the top 10 in points as these modifieds are off and rolling on their pace laps. Let's take a look at the starting grid, and again, this is not the way they qualified. They redrew, Dan, for the first 10.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how they do it in this series. The pole sitter, the guy who runs the fastest time, he draws a pill, 6, 8, or 10. He drew 10 here today. That means they take the top 10 the drivers that qualified in the top 10, and they each go and pull a number, and that's where we'll start in the top 10. So where you qualify at is not necessarily where you'll start here today.
There's your fastest qualifier, Donnie Lee, of the points leader. Natalie talking to him just a moment ago. And now in row 4, Bobby Grigas and Ronnie Silk. Row 5, Ryan Preece and James Civali. Civali's got a couple of wins this season in the modified series. Row 6, the veteran Tony Hirschman Jr. and another veteran, Ted Christopher, right there. Row 7, Billy Posh and Dick Houlihan. Back through the lineup, Eric Beers, Kevin Goodale, Richard Savory on row 9, along with Woody Cat out of Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Glenn Tyler and Andy Seitz. Jamie Tomato's been around this series as long as anybody. Mike Stefanik, what a legend he is in the modified.
Mike runs modifieds in Grand National Series, a great legend racer in the Northeast. Talked to Mike a little while ago. He said, man, I'm just not real good here today. He said, hopefully I can get the big mover of the race here because I'm starting way in the back.
27 drivers will make up the field. Jerry Marquis, who is in a backup car, and there is somewhere that he may just start and park it today. He's had a decent season, but not in the car that he wants to today. And meanwhile, it will be up front Danny Sammons and Doug Colby III. Colby out of Milford, Connecticut. Sammons out of Trenton, New Jersey. Back with more of the Mansfield 150 in a moment. Time around. There's some clouds in the sky. There had been some reports of rain in the area, and the forecast said we might get some today, but I know Dan Pardis's luck. I think it's good, and I think we'll hold out.
Well, we did a rain dance there, so we should be in good shape. I hope so. You know, they've had enough rain up here in Ohio. We don't need no more. That's for sure.
Well, I tell you, some of the folks really suffered with the rain, and our thoughts go out to them, particularly here in Mansfield. Downtown here was flooded here in Mansfield, Ohio. Well, Sammons is in the 0, and then outside of him, Colby in the 77. I don't know about you, Dan. I'm ready for some modified racing, huh?
You better buckle up and get ready, because there's going to be one whale of a show.
Green is out at Mansfield. And very quickly, it's Doug Colby out in front.
Can go two by side by side to the corners. It's going to be these modified, Mike, because of the wide tires, the big tire patch. You might see some side-by-side racing with these cars.
Doug Colby, your leader of the first lap, and Matt Hirschman is right behind him. Colby's only run 2 races, the last 2 races in this series. Oh, and we've got trouble. Caution out early. There's trouble on the front stretch. Danny Sammons, who started on the front row, is involved in it.
48 car, Tony Hirschman Jr. looks like he drives away.
Well, Sammons the only one having trouble getting going, but
towards the back here, it just looks like possibly Hirschman Jr. gets a little bit of help from the back and gets turned around. Unfortunate there. Again, the tires not up to temperature yet. Takes a few minutes there to get some temperature in these tires, and unfortunate just not have a good grip in the racetrack. 0 car, Phil Bonifield.
Glenn Tyler there in the 8 car. Tyler looks like he's having a lot of problems getting going. Tyler out of Hampton Bays, New York. But I'll tell you what, he is not qualified for 3 races this year. And had a tough time at Thompson where he finished 31st. Looks like he's going to have a tough time here today.
Richard Savory. A little bit early to be hit.
Well, several guys have problems, and we're off to what I would call a non-rousing start here with the modified race in Mansfield, Ohio. Mike Hawkwood here along with Dan Pardis. Natalie Taylor is down on the pit lane, and they're bunching up together. We're going to go green this time around. I think it's going to be interesting to watch Doug Colby III, but watch the car of Hirschman on the outside in the 59, the son of the legend, Tony Hirschman Jr. He's got a fast race car here today.
Well, him and the 4 car, Donnie Leah there, sitting third right now. I mean, he's got an awesome race car, and he's been in the Classic field all year in this series, so he's going to be tough to beat also.
Green is back out. Hirschman and Leah side by side for second, but as they cross the line, it is Doug Kobe the third in that Pontiac, the guy who's only run 2 races all year long. And he is looking good here at Mansfield.
Donnie Leah down on the bottom side. He's trying to get that run off the corner. Needs a little bit more. Got hurt on the outside. Not able to get the run. Get that momentum going off the corner like he needs. Has a little trouble right through here. Needs to run up towards the wall, but can't do it with Hirschman out there.
Really impressed with Hirschman, who's only in his second full-time season in this series. Matt Hirschman just 24 years old.
Donnie Lee in the 4 car so dominant all year in this series. Out of the 10 races this year, he's won 5 of them. He has just been the Classic field leader.
And Dan, before this season, he'd only won 5 races in his whole career.
Wow.
It's amazing season.
Probably a major change. Did not get a chance to talk to him about that, but obviously maybe a major change in equipment or crew chief or something that's really made that team turn around.
Another guy on the move is James Civali in the 28. He's had a couple of wins this season. He's making a move for second place, and Civali is going to get it.
His car appears to be driving on the bottom and on the top side of the race car. Anywhere he puts it, so good right through here on corner entry. That's where he really gains a lot of space on.
Right now, Civali's the fastest on the racetrack, and he's going to try to take the lead. James Civali, 23 years young, out of Connecticut.
Man, what a rush to be 23 years old, driving a New England open wheel modified. I tell you, there's no better feeling I'm sure one of these high horsepower cars and put it to the ground.
Well, Civali has taken the lead. He's got a couple of wins this year. Last year, he was the Rookie of the Year in this series. Dan, you may remember a few years ago, he tried to run in the Busch Grand National Series, and several times the temper got the best of him, but he's got that under control. Now out in front here is a battle back in the pack for 10th place.
Ted Christopher in that 36 car, working his way through the field, being patient, again, a longtime veteran of this series. These cars single file, again, get some heat in them tires, feel that race cars out, and then get back up on that steering wheel. 150 laps, a lot of laps around this place. These guys have got to be a little bit patient. That's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah, you're talking about Ted Christopher, 49 years old, a veteran. He knows how to be patient, take his time. But James Civali, the youngster, has taken it to the front.
Civali, 2 wins in this series this year, so good results out of him. Second place finish.
Won the first race of the year at Thompson. This series actually will go to Thompson 4 times during the season. They also go to Stafford Speedway a number of times. Last time at Stafford, though, Civali finished 25th. And now another battle for the lead.
Car, Ronnie Silk, he's come from the back, and what happens with these cars, tires heat up, cars start driving a little bit different. They either get better or they get worse. Obviously, in Silk's condition, his car's feeling better and better, and he's able to drive right to the front. Tire management's a big deal. These guys are going to have big tires.
Ronnie Silk, another one of these young guns, only 24 years old. It's his second full-time season, and he's leading here. This is a guy that started his racing career, Dan, with go-karts. He won 3 world karting championships before he moved up and got into a modified car.
And I can't say enough about them series like the go-karts or the quarter midget series. It does a lot for a race car driver, especially these youngsters at these young age. It teaches them a lot about track procedures.
Well, we're starting on the front row. You saw down there a moment ago, Danny Sammons has had all kinds of problems. There's Andy Seitz. He's got a lot of smoke coming out of his car. Doesn't look like he put any oil on the track. No caution flag out at the moment.
Now it's coming out of the exhaust pipe too. It looks like that's not a good sign. Sometimes you blow a head gasket, it actually runs through the exhaust pipes. His day may be over if that's actually what's going on there.
Back with more of the Mansfield 150 in a moment. Back in the pack a little bit. Here's the battle for 5th place.
59 car, Matt Hirschman there in front of your picture.
Right behind him, and that's the 10 of Eddie Flemke Jr., one of the most famous names in modified racing. 16 wins in his career. Son of Ed Flemke, who won over 500 modified races.
Matt Hirschman, 3rd in points right now in the series. 2nd, 4th, 5th, 3, 6th, and he's had a lot of top 10 finishes this year. It's been a good season for him.
Yeah, Matt Hirschman's just 125 points out of the lead behind Donnie Leah. As you see a lot of these modified races, sometimes get a little strung out, and that's what's happened here. For the modifieds, this is really a pretty big track. Back in 3rd, there's the 4 of Donnie Leah, the points leader. So at this point of the season, he's got to be a little careful as well as a little racing. Doug Kobe in the 77 right behind him.
Does Leah's got to look at the big picture. Again, he's here to win championships. He knows what it takes. It doesn't mean you have to win every race. He's feeling the race car out right now. 30 laps into a 150-lap race. Just feel it out. Make an adjustment on that pit stop. Change some tires. And be there at the end and try to fight for that victory in that second half of the race. He's doing the right thing here right now. He knows what it takes to be champion.
Donnie Lee is 29 years old out of Jericho, New York. Driving a Dodge. And being very, very patient. Right now. Another guy being patient in the car right behind those two is Todd Segedy. In this series. Well, Dan, you look out at this racetrack and there's action on every corner.
Well, it's kind of cool. Like I talked about, these cars, you're able to get too wide with these race cars because they've got so much rubber on the track. You're able to run up on the outside. Not the preferred line, but you can do that. If you need to pass a car on the inside, you can get up on that outside, get back up on that gas pedal, not lose a whole bunch of time. See Kobe looking to the inside of Leah. Well, maybe not. Hard move for him, tucked back in, working on the track.
Ronnie Silk, best finish this year is 3rd place. Right now he's leading. Here the battle for 3rd continues between Kobe and Leah. And there is Silk out of Norwalk, Connecticut. Hard to believe only his 2nd full-time season. He is putting on a show right here early. Last race out at Thompson, he finished 25th. And before that had a 20th at Stafford. So he's had 2 subpar races. Would be the line. Silk is 6th in the point standings in this Whelen Modified Series.
Covering the world of...
Welcome back.
We talked about how these cars handle so well. They're only 40 inches off the ground, from the ground to the top of the roof, where they measured a few inches back from the windshield. On the Grand National cars and the normal stock car, it's 51 inches. So these cars are some 11 inches lower. The air dam height on the front of these cars is 2 inches, where the stock car would normally be 4 inches. So a real low center of gravity makes the car handle a lot better. They turn down there. It's just like driving an oversized go-kart with a ton of horsepower and a lot of wheel on the ground.
You got to believe these would be fun to drive.
Oh, just a tremendous amount of fun. But I tell you, if the car's not set up good, it's a handful. It's no fun. So, you know, it's like walking the lights to panic. If the car's not right, it's really no fun.
Back in the pack a bit, the battle for 11th place. There's Ted Christopher again in that 36. Christopher is 11th. And Woody Pitcat is right ahead of him. That's who Christopher has his eyes set on. Christopher, 27 wins in the series, including a win at Stafford just a couple of races ago. Tell you what, Ronnie Silk and Civali have checked out. They're 2 guys trying to catch him. Leah and Kobe.
Kobe keeps looking at that bottom side, but not quite able to have enough run. You see he got sideways there, had to crank them wheels back to the right. When he tries to turn under Donnie Leah, the car gets loose, he loses ground, sees his car lanes here, as you see. Now he's got to reel that back in, figure out how to get around Leah smooth. Again, it's all finesse. You got to be smooth. Do not want to slide the car too much. Get back in that gas. Just hold it right to the floorboard. It's all here. But when you get to the corner right through there, you got to let the car sit first.
Cannons is the key at so many of these racetracks that you come to on a half mile like this. The corners are not identical. Each one of them, and you have to really handle the car a little bit differently going through each turn.
Well, especially here at Mansfield, when you drive down into turn one, you actually drive down to the bottom of the corner and let the car slide way up in the middle section of the corner. Then you drive off real hard. Down turn 3 and 4, very bumpy on corner entry there down in 3 and 4. You see they're exiting off at turn 2 right here. As they go down the backstretch, enter turn 3 right here. A lot of bumps in this section of the corner. Big bump right there where you pick the throttle up. You see that strip across the racetrack? Tremendous bump there. Driver loses grip there, so this is a tough, tough racetrack to get around.
I heard a lot of the drivers talk today earlier when I was talking to them about that bump in between 3 and 4. What is that like for a driver as we watch the battle for ninth place?
Well, it's tough because it's great when you pick the throttle up in the car and it actually bounces the rear tires up off the ground, so you have to be real smooth. You almost have to wait right when you get past that bump to get back down on that gas pedal.
Pitcairn and Christopher is battling all day long. They made their way into the top 10, and now Teddy Christopher is going to take a move on the outside.
Looked like Pitcat actually moved down out of his way and said, if you want it, come on by and take it. But he didn't get out of the gas pedal. He said, I'll let you have it if you want. Christopher looked at the bottom, almost got in the back bumper of Pitcat, but Pitcat got a good run off the corner.
You know an amazing thing about Ted Christopher in that red 36? He has been to victory lane 9 years in a row. And that really says something about your consistency when 9 straight years you can somehow pull off a win at some time during the season.
Teddy Christopher is so good in these cars. Again, he's been around a long time. A lot of these long-time veterans know how to make these Whelen modifieds work. You got to be careful not to overdrive these cars because they make so much horsepower. And being 2,610 pounds with the driver, these cars are very, very light. It's so easy to spin the rear tires of these race cars. You got to be careful not to overdrive it.
There's Christopher, who, by the way, Ted Christopher's driven in a lot of different series. He's driven Nextel Cup, Busch Truck Series, and we've seen him drive in the Busch Heat Series as well and do very, very well.
Good play.
Christopher now 9th. Ed Flimke is right ahead of him in the 10. When Pitcat continues to do well out of Stafford Springs, Connecticut.
Good battle right here. These three cars are so evenly matched. Again, they've got to be careful. 54 laps into the race. Oh, a little trouble there.
And caution is out for the second time today. It's hard to see the number there. I think that's Rowan Pennick. That's the 93. Is that the 93 car?
Yep,
yes, it is. That's Rowan
car.
Pennick, a rookie out of Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania, who has brought out the caution for the second time here today. And while we're under caution, we talked about Danny Sammons a moment ago. He started on the front row, but it doesn't look like he is going to finish anywhere near the front. Let's go down to Natalie Taylor.
You're exactly right, Mike. I just got done talking to Danny, and the team was so excited getting to start on the front row. Pumped, especially racing here at Mansfield, where position is everything as far as starting the race, and unfortunately, it was his motor. Completely went out. He's shaking his head no. There's just no chance to get this car back on the track.
All right, thanks, Natalie, and a tough break for Danny out of Trenton, New Jersey. Under caution for the second time today here in the Mansfield 150. The modifieds are running at Ronnie Silk out in front. Under caution for the second time here, and several of these drivers have taken advantage to come on and get some time. That is going to give the lead to James Civali.
Yep. Changing of the guards here. Some of these teams elected to come in and take some tires, so there's going to be some real fast cars towards the back, charging back towards the front. We're going to have to do
Well, it'll be Civali and Donnie Leah, the points leader, who has won 5 races this season, who will start on the front row. Right behind them, though, it'll be Doug Kobe III, who has had a wonderful day today, as well as Matt Hirschman. Green back out, and Civali. Boy, I tell you what, Leah got a big bump from Hirschman. Had to jump off the throttle a little bit. Hirschman trying to push Donnie Leah out of the way.
Let's get him up there and go, go, go. Civali got a big run there. He's got 3 or 4 car lengths on the top. That's just what you wanted to see. He's got open racetrack. Run up and down.
I'll tell you what, Donnie Leah, I don't know what's going on there, but Hirschman, as you talked about at the beginning, he's going to try to get Donnie basically move somebody out of the way, and that's what Matt Hirschman's trying to do with Donnie Leah.
Leah looks like they got bottled up there a little bit. 4 or 5 of them cars just got log jam there. You see as they run down in the corner, down on the bottom. Oh, Leah gets loose. Looks like the 79 car gets into them, makes them sideways. But they were able to hold on to it and get back in the way. It looked like they had gotten log jam there, but that's exactly what happened. They got together there in the corner.
Leah has moved back to the court. You're watching the Mansfield 150 from the Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. Mike Hogwood here, along with Dan Martin and with Taylor, down controlling pit lane for us today. 63 laps in, lap 64 will work right down 75 to make up halfway. James Civali, youngster, out of Connecticut.
Marshall, extremely working extremely well. The bottom of the racetrack, top of the racetrack. Look at just pulled away from the rest of the field and just got what it takes.
Their battles, great battles going all over the racetrack. This is a battle for 6th place. That 10 car is Eddie Flimpy Jr.
The 5 car, Joe Hartman, good battle there. Joe's able to keep his car down at the bottom of the racetrack. The guy's going to have to work around the outside of him if they want around.
Boy, Joe Hartman's having one of his best years all year long.
He's got a good race car. He's run a good race here so far. He's been real smooth. He's just got to get back up on that gas pedal a little bit earlier because them guys able to work around on the outside of it.
Battling a guy that's got 16 career wins in Eddie Flimpy. There's Flimpy. Out of Southington, Connecticut. Ron Bouchard in that car. The Bouchard made a name for themselves. It's next step couple of this.
A lot of history there. And the Bouchards, I tell you, they know how to get around with these New England modifieds.
They do, don't they?
Flemke's got no better person to be helping to turn some wrenches.
Ronnie Silk, who came in and changed the tires, is a long way to go. He's back in the top 10 now. He's 8th. Those new tires have made a difference.
Battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th right here. Donnie Leah, they're leading the pack in the 4 car.
Matt Hirschman right behind him. Boy, Hirschman and Leah have had a battle all day long, haven't they?
They have. They've been going back and forth, but, you know, they've used their heads so far. If one's a little bit faster and he gets the run, that's what's so good about these guys. They've raced together, and they know how fast these race cars are, especially on corner entry right down through this part of the corner. Very, very important if the guys got the line to get back out of the gas, let them have it, and get them the next lap. Average speeds here qualifying 116 mile an hour. These guys are seeing 130 mile an hour or so corner entry at these racetracks, both in turn 1 and 3.
Hey, another guy who's coming on is Eric Beers in that blue 94 car. He's right behind Hirschman. He's running 6th right now.
Beers hanging right on him. He's had a couple opportunities to run up under Hirschman. He's done the right thing. He's stayed out of the gas. And Beers is just doing the right thing, just hanging in there right now, running up there and top 10. Continue to do that. He'll have a good day here.
Eric Beers has had 2 wins in the series, once in 05, once last year. You'll be interested to know about Beers. In 2004, he won the New Smyrna Beach Speedway Florida World Series Modified Champion.
Well, I thought I've heard that name before, the Beers name. Definitely. I was born and bred down in New Smyrna Beach and raced all my short track experience down there since I was 15 to the age of 23 or so. And it's a fast half mile, just like this racetrack is. Drivers sometimes like tracks like this. You take a liking to a certain kind of racetrack. That may be why he's running so well here today.
I never knew that the modifieds ever graced the pavement at New Smyrna.
Well, during speed weeks, they run 9 nights down at New Smyrna Speedway. Done that for years and years. They run late models, open wheel modifieds, New England modifieds. Ruggiero, Jimmy Spencer, and all them guys will come down every year.
One of those races, the one in 2004, won by Eric Beers. But up front, James Civali. You know, you have to give Civali some credit. a couple of years ago when he tried out the rookie series, and he had a lot of races where his temper would get the best of him. And he's not the first race car driver that issue, but he's worked hard, and at 23 has really overcome it. And everybody talks about how much calmer he is now. He's no less aggressive than he was, but he's able to handle his emotions a lot better. We are, by the way, way past halfway now. Civali has just set sail here. Ronnie Silk dominated for a while. There's Doug Kobe III. He's had a fast race car all day long. Pontiac got a new Doug Kobe, the amazing thing about him, he's only run 2 races in the series. Had a 4th in the 3rd race at Stafford and a 19th in the 3rd race at Johnson.
Pretty darn good. And again, he's doing the right thing here. He's not overdriving the race car at this point in the race. We still got some 60-plus laps to go here at this point, so he's doing the right thing. He's got to take care of his equipment. Just riding back there, watching Civali.
There's Todd Zegedy. He's running 10. Right behind him, Tony Hirschman. We're talking about the driver of the 48, but Tony Hirschman Jr., 51 years old, 35 wins in the series, and 5 championships for the driver of car number 48. Yeah, what a career.
Unbelievable. Again, another veteran in these series. These cars are very, very different than a stock car. They take a lot to drive, and they also take a lot to set up. So, drivers that's been in this series, it's got history in the series, they're always going to be a lot better in a lot of these racetracks because these are tough race cars to get around the racetrack. You got to know what you're doing when you drive, but not only that, you got to know how to set them up.
And in case you don't know it, the fans are passionate about this sport once they follow modifieds. Tony Hirschman, by the way, has been the most popular driver the last 2 years, 05 and 06.
Good battle there in the red car. 9th place battle. Ted Christopher there, which kind of takes his car, basically working towards the front also. Teddy's another veteran in the series, been around an awful long time.
Top 10 now, single file as they come around turn 4. I think at this point of the race, and I may be wrong, but I think some of these guys are really going to be patient a little bit because the go time, the go button is not too far away.
No, it's not. Some of these guys have not come in and taken tires yet. You got to remember that. So they got to come in and take some tires. Phil Shaky goes to the guys that have already taken tires, like Silk and a few of the other ones. They're pretty much done for the night.
Oh, what a move by Christopher to get upside of Silk. And Christopher's going to take a position. There's Teddy Christopher going by Ronnie Silk. Now remember, both of these cars came on pit road and got tires.
Yeah, they did. They're both on new tires, and they are charging to the front. We're watching the clock once in a while. They'll get into the 50s, and that's what the leader's running right now. They've got 2 good race cars. See Christopher drive right to the bottom. Silk pushes Silk up the racetrack, says, hey, I'm here. And Silk does the right thing. He slides up the track, gives a little bit of room, and falls back in behind him.
Teddy Christopher is trying to make his move right now. Up to 8th place. Goodale would be the next guy on his list, the 58th car. Here's Silk, who's dropped back in position, now running 9th. And Christopher, right in front of him is that 58, the black silver car of Kevin Goodale out of Riverhead, New York. Well, I tell you what, Goodale's had some tough luck the last 2 races. Finished 34th at Thompson, 27th at Stafford. There's only 1 pin. Oh, there's problems now.
Not sure who that is.
You can see from that angle, you cannot see the car number. But caution is out for the 3rd time today. It is just who we were talking about, Kevin Goodale. Wow. He got involved with Christopher just a little bit, but Christopher, none the worse for wear. Looks like there's no damages there. Let's see if we can see what happened. Christopher's in that red 36.
Oh, Goodale just getting a little bit high. You see up there in the gray where the track changes colors up on the top side of the racetrack right here. You just really do not want to get up that high. You get up that high and you get in trouble when you get up there. Right up here in this top side of this racetrack, all up in here is the trouble zone. Lots of rubber, a lot of marbles, place you do not want to be. Again, you don't want to get up there, and unfortunately just lost the tail of the race car and got turned around.
Well, I'm looking at Christopher's car. You see it in the middle of your screen there. It looks like he is okay. And yeah, Goodale. And it was Christopher who pushed him up high just a little bit. But as you talked about, that's how you pass here at Mansfield. Well, it's starting to get really interesting as we approach lap 100 here in the Mansfield 150. The leader right now, James Civali. We'll be back with you. Dan, look at that, would you?
Oh, not a good sign.
Some raindrops nearby. They have been in the forecast for the day today.
Such a beautiful day all day today, too. We don't need none of that.
Dan, you'll be excused to go do another one of your rain dances if you'd like.
Well, hopefully these guys can make it another 50 laps.
We may put this one on camera. Would that be okay?
That'd be fine if it works.
Back to green. Hopefully that rain will stay away for a while. Look at Kobe battling the volley for the lead. What a great battle as they head into 3.
Wally's car again being so good on the bottom, on the top. He's able to get off the corner so well. So important for these big modified cars to get right down in the corner, right through here, and then just step on the gas at this point right here. Run wide open all the way down the straight and drive it in just as far as you can. And that car is just so good. When he gets back up on the gas pedal, it's just been dominant here all day. You see he pulls from another car right there down the straightaway. That's where he's gaining his pace.
Nobody has anything right now for James Civali. No doubt about it. Aaron Beers, we talked about, in the 5th position. And caution is out again. Is it for the rain? I see a lot of scrambling down on pit road. I believe it is. It is for the rain that we are under caution now as rain has moved in a little bit over the speedway.
Not what these guys wanted to see. 40 laps to go.
Hey,
at this point, it was...
No. Did you send an umbrella down with Natalie?
No, I don't believe I did. You're going to have to cut a piece of that blue tarp there. And,
Got to find one of those tarps to dive under. Okay.
I'll tell you, the best place to be during the rain is in one of these race cars. I've been in a few rainstorms. They put the cover over you and throw a fan in it. Nobody even knows you're home.
Well, it's raining fairly steadily right now, and what you don't want to do is what they call in racing, lose the racetrack. There's a certain amount of rain that it'll take, and you can basically go back racing in a hurry, but when you lose the racetrack, it basically then is going to take an hour or 2 to get it dry.
Yeah, it is. And you know, if you look at the asphalt on the racetrack, if it maintains the color that it is, if it stays the dark black, you can see the groove in here, it's usually good. But once it starts to turn gray is when you pretty much determine that you lose the racetrack. And you can kind of look at the color here. If it stops raining here in the next few minutes, we'll be good. But once you lose it, it turns color on you. It just gets saturated with water. You get a lot of water down in the pores. It just takes so long to dry it out. And then it's an hour process sometimes to get it dried out. So the most important thing, you see the rain coming down here really hard now. NASCAR, if they can keep these cars running around this racetrack, even 5 or 10 mile an hour, really helps. The heat of the tires going across it and also the exhaust coming out the left side really helps keep this track dry. But unfortunately, it looks like it's starting to get worse at this point.
Yeah, and we do make the point that this race is past halfway, and that's the way NASCAR determines if a race is stopped halfway and cannot continue, then it is declared a complete race.
Yep, not the way these guys want to finish it, unfortunately.
Well, Dan and I both are going to do a rain dance here. While we do that, let's head for a break because you don't want to watch it.
Very scary.
Welcome back to Mansfield, Ohio. We have some news here. Well, the rain has stopped again, and the jet blower, they did bring the one in from New Hampshire that was here I've been looking at all day. And look at that guy, James Civali. They have called the modified race. He is the winner, and he's with Natalie Taylor.
Okay, James. Obviously, a win is a win, no matter what. Talk about winning under these conditions.
You know, you got to take them when you can get them. You know, we've done real well this year. It's our 3rd win this year. And we're chasing wins this year, really. You know, Donnie Lee has got a bunch of wins, and we're trying to get a bunch. So up to 3, and it's awesome to be here. New track. Struggled a little bit today. We were fast all day, but, you know, we were kind of worried about the race. And did good in qualifying, and started 10th and got to the front quick and ran out there all day. It was a great run.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. I mean, starting 10th and here you are taking the win. This is a hard track to pass on. How were you able to do it?
I was worried to start, but what happened was the inside row got backed up a little bit and the outside row went. And then something on the bottom, you know, me and Ronnie Silk worked the bottom off of 2 and off of 4, and the car was really, really good.
Okay, well, that really, really good car ended up getting this guy another W. Mike, back to you.
All right, Natalie, thanks. And, you know, it'd be one thing if they called this race and we'd been going through a pit cycle, Dan, and really the right guy wasn't out in front. But this race called and the right guy was out in front. There was no doubt in my mind that he had the fastest car here today.
Civali, he was the class of the field. You're absolutely right. I mean, there was no better race car, you know, at this point in the race, and I don't think his race car was going away. It appeared to be on these restarts. He would go right back to the exact same time he would before the restart if it went yellow. So he just had an extremely good race car. James Civali was clearly the class of the field here today.
And you saw Doug Kobe does get credited for second place. Race gets 108 laps in, 42 laps short, but in NASCAR, you only have to go halfway to make it a complete race. And we want to get one more interview in for these modifieds before we put that story to bed. And Natalie's caught up with the second place finisher.
That's right, second place. Hey, that's getting a lot of points for your team. Doug, talk to me about having a rain delay and then going ahead and still ending up on top.
You know, I really wanted to go back out and race. I think we had a car that was better than second place. I'm really happy for the 28 team. I used to drive that car, and they're about my best friends, but I was out here racing for John Blewett. I really wanted to win for him. He drove this 77 car to 6 wins, I believe, in 4.5 years, and you know, I really wanted to dedicate everything I did today to the Blewett family, and you know, I just really wanted to pull it off for John, and that's the only reason I'm disappointed we're not racing. We had a great car, just a little disappointed.
But can you put it into words what this means, since you were racing for John, and the racing community is such a tight-knit family, especially when tragedy hits? How special is it for you to be able to get these points and get a second place finish?
You know, second is awesome. This is such a difficult series to race on, and you can see by all the great drivers in this series that, you know, it's something when you can finish in the top 3 here. And, you know, we all have heavy hearts for the Blewetts, and I'm sure everybody out here wanted to race for John, but, you know, congratulations to the 28 team. I'm happy for my team. You know, this is only my 3rd race with this car this year. I did drive it the last 2 years, but didn't start the season with him. I'm happy to be back, and we've got 2 top 5s and 3 races together, so it's a good start.
Yeah, I would say, can't complain about those statistics. Guys, back up to you.
All right, Natalie, thanks. And for Doug Kobe, we talked all day that this was only his 3rd race in this car, and he did very, very well coming home with a 2nd. So there you have the story on the modifieds. The race cut short by 42 laps, and our congratulations to James Civali, the winner. For my partners, Dan Pardis and Natalie Taylor, I'm Mike Hogwood. So long from Mansfield, Ohio.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.